Welcome, everyone, to another Games Talk Live podcast. We're here again, another week, another show. Hargeet is here with me as usual, my co-host. Just an amazing person. What's up, Hargeet?
Hey, another week. A lot of little things to talk about.
Yeah,
Got
and just
another
in
big
case
game come out.
people are wondering out there, yes, I'm wearing the devil's tools, as I like to refer to them as. Yeah, I'm old. Anyways, Hargeet, what have you been playing this week?
So I finished up to, Avowed, and then I finished what was the game? It's one of the ones that's leaving Game Pass. It's that memorable. I can't even remember. It was Open Roads. Open Roads. I just finished that. I was gonna give a chance to, is it Lamplighters, something, whatever. That's also leaving Game Pass. So I'll give that a chance. And if that's any good, I'll try to finish it up. Otherwise, I'll move on to the next thing in my backlog. Maybe I'll try even Shadows. We'll see. I just I don't know. I have so much in my backlog. I'll figure out when I want to fit that in.
Nice. Mav, welcome. Fun Speculation. You can find him at Fun Speculation on Twitter and on YouTube. How are you doing, man? It's been a while.
It has been a while. What's up, Vaughn? What's up, Hargeet? Hope y'all guys are doing well.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, just been playing lots of games lately because this year for me has just had a lot of different things to play. Monster Hunter Wilds was a little bit off and on last week, but this week's been all Assassin's Creed Shadows. And Elantro's still fitting in there. I've been hooked on that game for ever since it came out, pretty much. And man, that game will piss you off and it will make you extremely happy all
At the
all the
same time?
time. It's just yeah, it's so addicting, man. So besides that, just been trying to get closer to the end of Avowed as well. I'm getting close. I just hit past a major part in the game, and so I think I'm going to be rounding up towards the end of that also, man. So yeah, it's just been kind of making the rounds and having fun this year, dude. But what a crazy year we have ahead too,
I
because
don't
there's a
I don't
lot.
see how you can jump around from and you do the same thing sometimes, Hargeet. You play different games and stuff. Yeah, maybe it's your ADD, guys. I don't know what it is, but I have to stick to, like, if I start a game, like, that's it. That's what I'm playing for a while, until I'm
Yeah,
done with it at least.
I'll jump into multiplayer games with people if we're just like hanging out and we want to play something, and then certainly if there's something leaving Game Pass, I'll take that as a priority. So even if I'm playing something else, I'll slow it. I'll put that up in the back burner and on the bookshelf there, and try to get that game done, right, and then get back to it. The downside to that is you sometimes forget what the hell's going on.
Hmm.
That's
So
true.
and you hope that
That's true.
you don't like wait too long between your play sessions. But yeah, I can generally do that. I don't do that to just like try it a little bit, and then I usually want to play a game and play it through. But that's what usually happens. Like there'll be a Game Pass announcement. Oh, these games are leaving. Oh, God dang
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
because you're the guy that plays all those smaller games too. So,
yeah, I
um,
try everything. I try
yeah.
everything I can, unless I know like it's a sequel to something I didn't like. It's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
well, do I give it a chance? Maybe I, but like maybe I'll just skip it. Some of the sports games, I'm like, yeah, I don't care. Fine, whatever, right? So, but most of the times, I will give it a chance. I will try to give it a chance.
And that I
Um,
can appreciate about you and others that do the same because, like, for me, I don't like a lot of those smaller games and stuff. And sometimes, admittedly, I won't even try them. And,
yeah,
I have played some of them before and just tried it and then decided, hey, I actually like this. So it's kind of bad that I don't do that, but I'm glad that you do and other people
yeah.
do that as well. It's cool. I want to give a shout out to everybody in the chat. Thank you for being here, Anonymous Boss, Mr. Glass. I see you, Biff Rinaldi, and Resin Resiniforce. I'm not sure how you say that, but welcome. There's not a lot of people going to be here right now, I'm sure, because, well, Iron Lord's podcast is still going. As we know, Iron Lord's podcast is in my opinion,
Yeah,
the
exactly.
premier
I warned you.
gaming
I warned you.
podcast.
I'll feel you on.
Yeah, he did. We're usually on Saturdays. I couldn't do it yesterday. I postponed it till today, and I'm glad we did because we're able to pick up Mav along the way to join us today, and it's going to be an awesome show. So everybody who comes in later, maybe watches on demand, thank you for watching. But yeah, let's get into this first topic we're going to talk about, and it is, of course, about games, or a game, AC Shadows, Assassin's Creed Shadows. It's released this week, and Ubisoft has reported 2 million players as of day 2. Now, if you look on the Steam charts and stuff, the concurrent players and things, people are pointing to that, saying how it's a flop because it's only got like 68,000 people, max concurrent player or whatever. And it's like, yeah, Steam can tell you a lot about PC sales. It really can. And that doesn't sound like a lot, but what we have to remember is with Assassin's Creed game, guys, these games sell a lot on console. Traditionally, they always have. And so I think the majority of the people that are playing right now are probably on console and even Ubisoft Connect. There's that subservice they have. So I feel like a lot of people are probably playing it there as well. So yeah, Steam sales, PC sales might be low, but I don't think there's a problem really with the sales aspect, or at least I'm not going to comment on that right now, because again, if they're touting 2 million players day 2, that's telling me that, there's a lot more than that 68,000 concurrent players on Steam. Okay. So you're looking at console, you're looking at Ubisoft Connect. Hargeet, I'm going to go to you first. Is that any indication to you that it's an absolute flop at this point?
No. And to your point, Ubisoft Connect, I try to buy codes and give them away, and I've given away a couple of Xbox copies. I tried to buy a Steam copy. It's very hard to buy a Steam code. Almost all the codes you can buy are for Ubisoft Connect on PC. So they're pushing theirs. Why do you think they're doing that? They don't want to give the 30% away. That's really it. So that gives them the full 100% of the $70. So I think that might be a part of it. And look, we can never really tell based on just concurrency how much actually sold. So don't actually look at that. We've got the 2 million engagement. A lot of that might be from Ubisoft Plus customers. Some of that is, I'm sure, sales.
Console,
but that's not nearly enough. Yeah, it's not nearly enough. The budget supposedly is around 400 million for this thing. So, and then marketing. So it's going to take a lot of sales and a lot of subs to sort of make that up. So they need to kind of really push that. Hopefully they get there, right? It's doing better than Valhalla and Odyssey and all those, right? That's what they're saying. That's great. So hopefully it continues that path and gets to about 20-ish million. If they get to that, they're definitely going to be profitable. Hopefully that helps alleviate some of the headaches they've run into, because they have a lot of flops, right?
You got to remember too, Hargeet, when it comes to not just the sales, they make a lot of money in those microtransactions. People don't want to speak on this because they hate the microtransactions. But if you look at Valhalla, they made over 1 billion in sales, and most of that was on those microtransactions.
Yeah. So, and that hopefully brings in a lot of cash. I looked at the things you can buy as add-ons, right? Because they usually are really high on those kind of things, right? You can get these credits you can buy, and extra armor skins and stuff like that. So they do have those. So if people are buying those, they're pretty pricey. Hopefully that's helping them supplement, right? So I'm hoping that they pull a bit with this, and they can get a good amount. We'll see, right? But the numbers need to be higher. They need to sell a lot more. Hopefully the trend continues, and they will end up making a good amount of money off of it. Let's hope they get there. 2 million is not enough. It's just not enough. But they need to eclipse 10 million. Plus, like you said, microtransactions. They will do a pretty good job, right? So let's hope they can make some good cash out of this. But understand they've had a lot of flops. They have to undo that damage, and this was kind of their big bet. So yeah, it's doing well. There's controversy stuff. We'll get to that later, I guess. Maybe let's talk about the sales
Oh,
first.
well, we can, yeah. The thing is like, yeah, I wanted to go to you about the sales aspect because I know you can break that down a bit. You did a good
Yep.
job there. But with that said, I want to start talking about the game itself. And it's one of the reasons why I said, Mav, please come to the show because I know he loves talking games and I know he's playing this game and I know he's enjoying it because I was listening to his show the other night. By the way, check out his shows. He does multiple podcasts a week, right? You're doing the one with Pong Soul. You do the two on your channel. Is it 2 or 3 on your channel?
We got all three. Yeah, all three of those are on our channel, and it's Monday. We have a fun speculation podcast. We're trying to incorporate as much different stuff as we can, and then Thursdays is Pong and I. Then Friday nights is the Xbox Ultimate.
So definitely subscribe to him. Check him out at Fun Speculation. But Mav, going to you, I want to talk about the game itself. How do you feel about the game? How many hours are you in right now?
So I started playing at first on Xbox, and I've been having a lot of FOMO with this game as it's gotten closer to launch, as it was getting closer to launch, and I kept seeing more of the trailers leading up to launch and some of the gameplay that they were showing, and I'm like, man, this is like I don't know what everybody else has been talking about for the last year because to me this game just looks awesome, right? So I was like, I gotta get it. I ended up getting a sale on Newegg. They had like a discount code or whatever, so I got it that way. I was like $55 or something like that
Yeah.
at launch. So I was like, hey, cool, great deal. And I like Assassin's Creed games, although even though I liked Odyssey and Valhalla, those two like for whatever reason didn't necessarily keep me engaged or get me invested into the story as much as Origins did. The Origins, I was all into that and all the previous Assassin's Creeds
Bayek
before
was
that.
amazing. That's why that protagonist
Yeah.
in Origins, dude, my favorite out of all the AC games was Bayek.
I think setting too has something to play with it. I really like the Egyptian like setting with the pyramids, exploring that stuff and everything. So you know, Odyssey, I like want to love it as much as other people do, but it's a
Oh,
game
I
that I've
love it.
restarted. I've restarted it like 10 times because like I get away from it. I'm like, okay, I need to get more into it, and I just restarted again, and then I ended up, uh, falling off of it again. But eventually, I will play more of Odyssey. Valhalla, I thought was kind of really well made, polished, great game, but it
Very
just
bloated. Very, very
extremely
bloated.
extremely bloated, and it was kind of like boring for me for some reason. So
I
after
did not
Assassin's
like
Creed,
the protagonist on that one, Mav. I
yeah,
couldn't
I
stand the
just
guy.
it was just something about like it was just so muted and like understated, like it just nothing to get me too excited or care too much about the world, right? But I've always wondered, like, man, could Assassin's Creed in Japan, like how are they going to do it? And we finally got this. We had all the drama of the last year and stuff leading up to this, and I'm like, okay, how's it going to play? How's it going to? So I got it, loaded up, looks gorgeous, runs insanely well in performance mode on the Series X. I'll tell you what I ended up doing, but so far I'm like about 8 hours in on the Series X. I booted up and played it there, and I was loving it. Ended up playing that night on the cloud on my tablet while we're in bed watching a movie. Also, still loving it that way. And then I ended up getting Ubisoft Plus also, so that way I could
Oh,
use
nice.
so I could play it on PC too. So I got like another 7.5 hours on PC. So
Nice.
I'm maybe like 15 hours total, or so. And overall, it's just
What's your GPU like on your PC?
I have a 7900 XT.
Okay, okay. So and it's running fine. Right, looks good.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
have.
yeah.
It's yeah. I mean, it's six. I'm running at 60 frames locked with just jacking up
Yeah,
the
yeah.
fidelity as high as I can. That's kind of how I run most of my PC games. I don't need to get extra frames after 60 for me. It's if I'm at smooth 60,
Yeah, it's got to at least be
I'm
60.
good.
Yeah, yeah. I
And then
hear
I
you.
like the fidelity above that, right? So yeah, but I've been playing it, and so far, like, just the Ubisoft theme is all around it as far as, like, the connecting and how the menus and all that stuff goes, right? But beyond that, I also noticed something that Ubisoft doesn't get a lot of credit for, um, is, and this is because I think if they're expected to do so, is release a game that looks gorgeous and is as big as this while also performing and being optimized pretty well, right? So
Yeah.
all of those things combined, it's like not many developers are capable of doing that. Not many publishers are capable of doing that. I mean, you have a few, but they never. It's always just kind of like an expectation, you know. So when I
Hmm.
play it, that's my first thing. Is kind of like this. Wow, you know.
Yeah.
I had the same thing. Even though I wasn't as into Valhalla, I had the same thing with Valhalla when I first played it at 60 frames on a Series X. I was like,
Yeah.
wow, this is pretty crazy. Like that, I'm playing this and it feels this good and looks this good on a
They got that to
console.
120 on the console, didn't they?
Yeah, it was crazy, man. They're really well
Yeah.
optimized with their games. So my first impression was just that, like, wow, like holy crap, like it looks great, feels great. But then like what I wasn't as expecting to, and maybe it's just because of all the noise going around for the last year and stuff, was like connecting with the characters. Like I really like how the game opened. I thought that the scene and with the opening and how they
Kind of
presented.
like how they had two prologues for each. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Or
and
one
I and
prologue for each of them.
and I liked how they presented, Yasuke's opening, right? I was like, "Okay, that's interesting how they presented that there," and I'm more because I just saw that, I'm really interested to see his journey, right? And then Naue, I really got invested into her story, like, big time, with the, thing with her father
Hmm.
and, just, like, her village and, like and I've seen, like, a lot of documentaries and stuff on these things and stuff, so kinda like, uh, it's like I'm living in the world that I have watched these shows about and all these, like, things about history and this region. So, I was like, "Man, this is pretty awesome." But then the other thing was, man, stealth is back, dude. Stealth
Yes.
is back. Like, I am a big time Splinter Cell fan, right?
It was much more like the older games then, right?
Oh,
Because this
This
is one of
God,
the things
yeah.
it
I've
feels
not
like
liked, is
Splinter
moving into the
Cell
new world
in a
of it.
lot of ways. Yeah, that
Yeah.
some of the
So it's well,
mechanics.
but, like, is it more like AC2, AC4 instead of, like, the
No,
Odyssey,
it's like the
Valhalla?
Odyssey and Valhalla, but there's a lot of okay. I'm gonna have to get I'm gonna have to get a little messy here. I I'm not loving the game. I'm enjoying it though. I am a big AC fan, so I'm not a hater of Assassin's Creed, especially the later ones, the RPG, ones that people seem to always hate and say, "Oh, we want the old ones. We want the old ones back." And then the old one it comes back and nobody buys it, okay? Um
I did, I
with
liked it.
Mirage. Yeah, yeah, you liked it and but a lot of others didn't. And so anyways, you're 100% right though, Mav. The way they opened it and had this prologue for Yasuke and then they had the prologue for Naue right after, it was well done. Now, I could nitpick some of the writing and stuff in there because some of it's kind of goofy, and I'm not really spoiling anything, by the way. But there was like, for instance, there's one part in the story you'll get to it where you're sent to go to get somebody's help, and I'm not going to say for what or anything. So you go to this person, and this person's talking to you and tells you that their parents were killed and stuff, and you're playing as Naue, and you would think that she would think about that and say, "Oh, I'm sorry, whatever," and like there would be a deep conversation there. But no, instead it was like, "Anyways, we need your help." As soon as he says, his parents were killed, and I'm just like, "Okay, that's a bit, off." But whatever. I can nitpick a lot of things like that within the game. Um, but for me, I don't play Assassin's Creed game for their story, for their riveting stories. I don't. I play for the Ubisoft tropes everybody hates. all the stuff on the map, all the things that you can possibly do that you don't necessarily.
Apparently, that's turned off.
Okay,
right?
well, yes,
But
yes.
you can turn it back on.
You could turn it on. You could put on the guided mode, okay, which I recommend doing actually, because there's reasons for this. So I'm playing this game and I'm like, yeah, I like all these Ubisoft tropes. I like doing all these things because I can pick and choose what I want to do and what I don't want to do. Like I can leave stuff behind. It's not a big deal. This game kind of has modes. Well, it starts off where they have the scout mode thing where you can send scouts out to find out where this next place you have to go to assassinate somebody or something. You know, they find out, like they'll give you like clues on where to look or whatever. I turned that shit off. I put the guided mode back on. I want to see the dot and where I need to go next, because I was running around for like 2 hours trying to find this place, getting a clue from the scouts telling me it's in this general area, ran around forever, could not find it. Then I turn on the guided mode and it's like, boop, here it is. And I'm like, thank God. So I'm leaving that on. I'm also leaving on a mode they got in there, which I think is cool, canon mode. Basically, it takes out a lot of the options in the game, like when it comes to dialogue choice. So you will not have to go into these romance options if you don't want anything to do with that. All these people complaining about, a gay romance or whatever, you won't even see that. Okay, just turn on canon mode and it'll just give you the story as they intended, the developers. And so far, I've had no issue with that. Now, it does limit some things, like maybe getting closer to companions or getting some companions at all. It might limit that, but I don't care. This game is so massive as is. Like I'm not missing anything. So it's like when I get to these cinematics, there's no choice for me to actually think about. I just put the controller down, watch the little mini movie, then go back into the game. Now the game itself, Mav, that's one point that I think is the strongest in this game. Stealth. Stealth is by far the best aspect of Assassin's Creed Shadows. Amazing. Like literally, I went into a camp, like I wasn't feeling the combat at first. You start out as Naue, and I just wasn't feeling it that much. I was like, it's okay, but I want more. But when I actually started using the stealth mechanics, started going prone, started freaking shooting out the lights, started freaking going into waiting until night to go into a castle and just taking out every guard one by one in stealth mode, or even two at the same time. There was one point where, the kunais you throw, I was in the shadows. I ran out of the shadows. There was two guards side by side. I ran out of the shadows so fast, threw a kunai, hit the one guy in the head, killed him right away. And before the other guy could even see what was coming at him, I was able to assassinate him with the blade. So awesome. Like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's so good. I was up till 3 a.m. playing this game last night. That's how much I'm enjoying that stealth and that combat aspect. And it's for this reason.
The best thing
about
about that too, Fonz, real quick, about
Yeah.
the stealth and those things is that adds a level of replayability
Yes.
to a game like this, even as massive as it is. But once you get through, these areas reset with the seasons as well.
Yeah, they do.
So you can go back and try and approach the stealth differently, or and I love that about stealth that are kind of open sandbox games, when it's like about the player choice of how to approach this. You know what I mean? And I'm loving that aspect of the stealth because the mechanics are done so well that it makes me want to like attempt to try and figure out ways to take the whole base out silently without ever being detected and things like that. And you can, if you increase the difficulty, I haven't done it yet. I'm just playing on normal, but there's people that are, they're putting up the difficulty to hard and they're putting on some other settings and stuff.
I
And
tried
it
that, the expert. But the thing about that I don't like though is they immediately notice you I mean, they could be 100 yards out and they see you. Like
Oh, it makes it
it's
it makes it ridiculous. You
it's
gotta stay
too
in the
much.
shadows and in the bushes
Yeah.
100% of the time,
I
you know?
love the shadow play in here, and the fact that you can freaking just do what I said. Like even if there's 2 guards, you can assassinate them if you hit the one guy with the kunai really fast and then kill the other guy with the blade. Get there fast enough. Um, the one thing I
But do
have to
you have, like, open brawling? Right, because one of the things that changed, like, they had a little bit of that in the other games, right? But
what do you
once
mean?
it got to, like, Odyssey and, Origins and Valhalla, it was never about stealth. It was all about
No,
open combat.
see, and that's what I'm going to talk about here. This game seems like it was designed around stealth. Now
Okay,
way
so it's much more like the older stuff.
in when it comes to the stealth stuff, yes, 100%. Dude,
Okay.
even better when it comes to stealth. I think they did stealth here better than they have in any AC game.
There's less
Okay,
stuff
okay.
with crowds and stuff like that. There's like that isn't really a thing, but it's more about just you as the character and how to get around without being detected,
It's
right?
why
Where
it's called shadows, bro.
yeah,
Stay in the shadows.
Yeah,
but there
and
is open
go ahead.
brawling. So like if you
Yeah, of course.
if you know if like this guy didn't get assassinated. One thing too, like if you go for an assassination, sometimes they'll catch you. They'll just grab your arm, and stop you in the middle of it,
Yeah.
and you're like, oh crap, right? So if that happens, you may have like 3 or 4 guys around you, and you gotta either fight for your life or run.
Yeah, Naue is very weak in the fact that she can be taken out in one hit even from some of the people I've come across, some of the elites. Yasuke is a tank. Okay,
Yeah, I heard that,
he's
yeah.
all about open brawling. That's why I feel like, and I'm going to say something here that's probably going to hurt a lot of people out there, but I think Yasuke was unnecessary for this game. This game feels like it was built around Naue and her stealth. It really does. Like I know some people like Colt Eastwood. He's playing this game as well, and he's enjoying it. But he loves the fact that you can switch between the two because he gets a different dynamic. He can go stealthy, and then he can play
Yeah,
Yasuke and go
and I
in
think
there
there
and
are
just
people who
kick
like
ass.
the brawl aspect of what was
Yeah,
happening with Origins and Odyssey and whatnot. I don't. Like, it's okay that that exists, but I like the original idea of Assassin's Creed, which was you're in the background doing stuff and nobody knows what happens, right? And like you just go stealthily go do things. What shouldn't happen is you alert everybody, right? So you should be like finding the stealth way, and it sounds like that's what you can do,
yeah,
which does mean maybe you take people out, fair enough, but then you find your stealth pattern to get to the person you need to kill, stealthily kill them and get the hell out,
yeah.
and then nobody needs to know what the hell's happening.
You can literally stealth your way into a place and almost not, maybe not even have to kill anybody
Yeah,
and grab what you need and get out. I
yeah,
like killing everybody in the camps and the
fair enough.
castles and stuff. And
Yeah,
I'm able
and I
to
used
do
to do that
that
too, like, clear the
completely
area,
stealth,
right? Make it easy, but you do it all stealth, right? You never get
all
alerts or
stealth.
anything, like, yeah, absolutely.
Because you
I
can
love
walk
that
up to
stuff,
a
that was
light,
great.
you can walk up to a light and just turn it off. Like just, extinguish the flame. And
Yeah,
then you get more shadow and you get less people being able to see you. And it's so well done in that aspect. I had such a good time last night. I couldn't put it down because of that. I'm 15 plus hours in. I've gotten to the point where I can use Yasuke, but I don't want to. It forces you to use him a couple of times, just
yeah.
as it introduces
Yeah,
him
it's
and
just
stuff.
like, Syndicate.
Yeah,
Syndicate had the brawler brother and the, stealth sister, and I always chose the sister. I always
yeah. Oh,
wanted to do the stealth.
dude, you will
That was
love
so it was.
Naue. I'm telling you right now, you
So
would love Naue. If you want to play Assassin's Creed for that stealth aspect, Naue all the way. If you want to
yeah,
go in
yeah.
brawling, I got no qualms with that. I'm not going to tell people they're wrong if they love
Yeah,
Yasuke in the
yeah,
game.
that's how
That's
you
your
like playing it,
style.
absolutely.
Go for it. Like that's what Zucker was telling me. That's what he would want to play is Yasuke and go
Yeah,
in there and just murk everybody. And I'm like, yeah, go ahead and do it. That's your choice. But I feel like this game was really centered around Naue. I really do. I
yeah.
think this is what Shadows is about. It's about that stealth aspect, and what they do there is phenomenal. Where
I
I
think she I
think,
think she's a good character too.
yeah,
Just like,
I think she's likable. She's
yeah.
likable. Yeah.
Good, because I hated the protagonist in Valhalla, and I
But
usually like Like, I was
And I know that a lot of people play it in the English dub. I cannot. I tried. I don't like a lot of the, especially some of the side characters, the way they talk and everything. It just seems like a caricature. It seems like a joke, like a parody of somebody trying to speak like in
you
broken
gotta play it in
English.
Japanese.
So I put it in Japanese and I love it so much better in Japanese.
Got it.
Unfortunately, you got to read, people. You got to read the subtitles.
Yep.
But I played a bunch of games like that in the past. I played Ghost like that as well. I don't mind it.
Yeah.
Now, where I think that the combat could have been better, I think that, adding that stealth aspect is really great, but they played it really safe when it comes to combat. There's nothing new there aside, it's the same old, same old. You get the light and heavy attacks and then the charge attacks. It's the same thing that we've gotten in the last, 4 AC games. So there's nothing really new there. The one aspect I'll say is for me that's one of the worst that's changed. It's really changed here is the terrain, the environments. I think it's awful. It looks gorgeous, but it's almost like they're forcing you to stay on a path. It's like they don't want you to deviate and run over that mountain over there because 9 times out of 10 you can't do it. You can't jump over. You can't climb it. There's so many areas you can't climb here that you could on the Valhalla game or the other AC games. I don't know why they really changed that, but there's so many instances where it looks like, yeah, I can run over that, I can climb that, and you can't. And that to me is a big miss, especially in a game that's so huge, the map. Like sometimes you just want to get from point A to B in a straight line, and I found myself using the horse more in this game than I ever did in an Assassin's Creed game because
I
can't.
assume they still have like the eagle eye point view things, right? Point of views, right?
You could do that.
Create the fast travel zone, whatever. Thing.
Yeah, you can, but they're pretty. Each one is about 2,000 to 3,000 freaking
The map
kilometers
is pretty
out.
large.
It's pretty.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, map is huge. Right?
So to get to some places, if you don't have one of those fast travels nearby, you're screwed. So I wish they wouldn't have changed that aspect. Like I love being able to traverse over everything, like being able to climb just about everything, and that's not in the game. It's just not built that way for some reason. So the terrain.
I mean, it sounds like it'll be pretty good, right? So
but here's the other
I'm more
thing too.
intrigued because I was originally like, I am not even touching this.
Yeah,
it's gonna be a bazillion hours. I'm sick of the whole RPG thing. So, but it sounds like I can, get the stealth game that I want. It's 50-ish hours.
For sure.
That's
but the one thing I was saying about using the horse is, so I'm going down the pass like they want me to, but there's so many freaking deer in the way all the time, and when you hit it, you get stopped. Mav, that's true, right? There's so many freaking deer. Is this a Disney movie? Like, what is going on? I'm not a Disney fucking princess. Just let me get to my destination without hitting a deer.
There's quite a few deer, and you can paint animals too. So if you like to, speaking of that kind of thing, Fonz, if you like the look of the deer, maybe there's a special one you come across, try and sneak up close, and you can draw a nice little picture of it. So, but yeah, it's I do like one thing I noticed is that, and I had the same issue with Far Cry 4, right? Because it was set in the Himalayas, right? And it was just so mountainous that it makes it harder to get from point A to point B quite a bit. I think that this game kind of has a little bit of that. It's not as drastically bad as like Far Cry 4 was in that situation. But with this one, I'm usually able to find my path kind of around it or something. I think the horse does a pretty decent job of weeding through some of the thickets and the bamboo and stuff, but it's sometimes easier to run on foot through some of that. And she is extremely fast though, which is pretty crazy. Like I don't know if I've played a Assassin's Creed game where the character actually runs as fast as Naue does. So she can bolt, man. I went through. Cool. There was one part where I was like, it was getting late, and I was kind of like stealthing through this castle, but I was supposed to get to this other place, but I was just kind of having fun taking out some guards and stuff, and I was like, okay, well, I'm just gonna go to where I need to go. But this is a huge castle, right? And I'm away on the opposite end. Like, I'm just gonna run. So I just run through the entire castle, by all the guards. Everybody just like watching me
Yeah,
run on
yeah.
by, and I just bolt, and like there's nothing that any of them could have done about it because she is so fast that I'm just running past every single possible thing, you know.
Yeah,
But
and then when you
yeah,
play as Yasuke, he's slow, and you can't really climb as fast as she does, and you can't get to certain points like she can
He's
because
the
she's got the
opposite.
grapple hook, you know? And it's funny to me. One thing that bothers me about Naue though is how come she can't have a bow? Why can't she have a
mm,
bow? Ninjas use bows. Like they had all kinds of different weapons at their disposal. And Yasuke's got the bow. She doesn't. And I'm like, man, she'd be perfect for a bow.
save that for the DLC funds.
Yeah, for sure, right? Yeah, that's coming soon. Or
I,
maybe
I
they'll
do
have
want
it
to hunt those
microtransactions.
deer. I
Yeah.
want to hunt those deer with a bow.
Do you know you can't kill them?
Yeah.
That's so weird. You can't kill the deer. I don't get that. But
It's kind of like
and
Avowed. You can't kill the random animals running around.
and I'm
Yeah.
not even exaggerating when I say the whole Disney princess thing and everything. It's crazy the amount of deer that's on the paths all the time, just running around you. It's like, bro, I don't need all of you in my way. Stay out of my way. Um, but yeah, aside from that, it's the same old, formula for Assassin's Creed. They just again they added that stealth, which is awesome. They added that cannon mode, which I really like. They took away the guided mode if you just want to use scouts and spend hours aimlessly waiting for their direction and where to go. But trust me. Oh, and the loot. There's like a loot mode that you can turn on to where you can see the loot when you held the left trigger, all the loot in the castle and stuff. You can see where all of it's at to go after instead of actually holding it and looking, trying to find it in the direction or whatever till it pops up. You can just do it once and you get all the loot to show up. That's a quality of life feature right there that helps too. So they've done things to try to mitigate some of the pad in past AC games, but there's still a lot of pad there, man. There's still a lot of bloat. It's still there because one of the aspects, this is the most frustrating aspect for me in the game, even surpasses the whole terrain, can't climb mountains and stuff like that. It's the upgrade system. I don't like the way the upgrade system is because you will constantly get these mastery points and you'll go into the mastery category and you'll see, oh, I can unlock all these things. I've got all these points. No, not so far, not so fast. Because not only do you need mastery points, you need knowledge points. And knowledge points are hard to freaking find. There's so, and it's not that I haven't done a bunch of them. I've gotten like 13 knowledge points so far, but guess what 13 knowledge points gets you? Rank 2. I was only able to rank once with these weapons and stuff. So you need 10 knowledge points for every rank. And when you do these knowledge things, it's to get knowledge points. One of the things I notice is, or one of the things you have to do is find scrolls. Sometimes you'll go to a castle or whatever, or monastery or something, and you have to look around for the scrolls. You gather them, you get a knowledge point. Fine, that's the easiest way to do it. The other way I've noticed, the only other way I've gotten knowledge points is doing the meditations. But when you do meditations, it's nothing like the Ghost of Tsushima where you sit there and you meditate and reflect on the past or whatever. No, you reflect on the past in here. You do this little mini game first. You have to hit the buttons and with the corresponding button prompts and the sounds that come up, these chimes. But then it goes into the past and you have to play a whole freaking mission from the past to get the knowledge point. So that kind of padding is there. Now, I will say that so far, these past missions that I've done are kind of story building missions. You see more of what happened prior to where you're at that time. I don't want to spoil anything, but it makes sense. So I'll give them that. but that's how you get knowledge points. But it takes forever to gain rank and move up with these knowledge points. That's my biggest pet peeve in the game, by far. My biggest pet peeve.
Right on.
But
Yeah.
I'm enjoying it though. Naue is a badass. She's a beast. One of the best AC characters for sure, protagonists. I really like how fast and nimble she is. Very smooth gameplay, very fluid. Not with her stealth. You know how like you've played. I'm sure there's other stealth games you've played. I can't think of any off the top of my head, but you know how some games you play, the character feels kind of janky sometimes, the movement,
Yeah.
especially when you're doing stealth stuff, you're going prone and everything. This does not feel like that.
No.
It's fluid.
The
It feels
animations are
nice.
top notch. Like, I feel like a lot of the way that the game design is obviously is because you're not just like centered around like one big city like some of the Assassin's Creeds are, where you're kind of out going around the vast openness of Japan here, right? But also you have these isolated towns, and then it does a good job incorporating the style of buildings and the way the people would have lived at that time with the gameplay mechanics for the character. Right? So it takes away some of, like, the mechanics that made like, the crowd stuff, you're walking through, like, a large crowd to try and stay hidden, or, like, you, like, stand still around people, or, a lot of the Assassin's Creed tropes and stuff. I feel like all that stuff's unnecessary here. It's about the rooftops, it's about the bushes, it's about the shadows, right? It's about all those things, and, also, I've noticed, like, I like with the story so far and the dialogue where you're going, um the ninja or shinobi aspect of, trying to infiltrate through lies and deception and all of that kind of stuff as well. It kind of plays into it. And there was a mission early on where you're doing that. And I was like, and it gives you options so you can kind of mess it up a little bit, right? How good am I going to do at fooling these people that I'm not who I am,
Yeah,
right?
see, I
And
didn't
that
get those options in canon mode.
Oh,
That's
it's
funny.
amazing.
That's
Yeah,
funny.
no, like you get these options, and like you can like pick your name, and then you can like uh determine like
Oh,
how you're
you're
going
talking
to.
about during like the tea party and stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that whole sequence, and then like there's the whole exchange of things that happen at that ceremony, and so like just the interesting things about how she approached that situation from the get-go is like made you feel kind of like you're this secret operative type character, that's in there for this mission, or you're stealthing through it even though you're directly interacting with everybody to get information,
Mhm.
so like all of those things are play into what that meant to be those that kind of character, that shinobi back in the day, and like you've been playing through that is just really cool in this way, because usually you just ninja stuff, you just see like, okay, yeah, you're just wearing the ninja outfit and you run around, you're just doing like throwing ninja stars and you sneaking up people occasionally, but this is like you're doing everything, and it's trying to put you in that situation of what it would have been like at the time to maybe be one of those people, right? So I love that aspect of it with the story too.
Yeah, and
Um,
then her personal story as well. The
yeah,
way they humanize her in the game that makes her even more likable, you know? They did a good
100%.
job there with her, for sure.
Yeah.
I'm
Um,
I'm digging that aspect, and like I said, I'm just a little further along than you. It took about no lie, it took about 14 hours just to get to be able to play as Yasuke.
yeah. I'm like
Yeah.
I'm like right there, I think.
It
I'm like
it
right
takes a
right
while. Some people, I watched one video today that a guy has played 25 hours and he's done a lot and he still hasn't gotten to Yasuke. And
Yeah, I
I'm
think it
like,
depends on
wow.
how much you
He's done a lot of
explore,
side
or
stuff. Yeah,
yeah,
a lot of
yeah.
side stuff.
Like if I see like a cave entrance or something, I'm like, okay. And there was one that I just saw like this rock facing on the wall, and it had a sliver through it. I was like, I need to go in there. So I go in there, and it ends up being this huge cave with all these branching paths.
I have not been to one cave yet,
And it's like this
so I
huge
got to
cave,
see that.
like
Yeah.
all these branching paths, and I was like, oh shoot, like what happens if I go down?
Oh, you
What
also
happens if
get
I go
launch
up?
points, right?
Yeah, I think I got one in there,
I'll tell
if
you
I
what, though,
remember right.
don't skip out. I don't know if you've done it yet, but the ships in the sea. You can actually go out there to them and
Mhm.
rob them, and there's pirates. There's all kinds of stuff that goes on out there.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's still a massive game, Hargeet. It's not much has changed except for that stealth aspect, and I say that changes the game in a big way. It helps so much with Assassin's Creed, man. So getting back to that stealth was a great idea, and they need to keep with that. You need a stealthy protagonist because that's what Assassin's Creed started out being anyway, and
Yep.
it's just even better now with the stealth. So yeah, I would say try it, man. You might really like her.
Yeah, I mean, like the how long to beat shows it as much shorter than the other ones. So like Odyssey
I
is main plus extra is 85 hours, completion is 144, and this one is main plus extra is 55.
Yeah, yeah.
Valhalla is main plus extra is 100 hours, completion is 150. I spent
I don't
170,
know how
Too.
accurate that's gonna be, Hargy.
and that's without DLC.
Like, for 55 hours total with extras?
No, not completionist. Main plus extra is
Oh,
55
okay,
hours.
okay.
So completionist, probably another 20, 30 hours, something in that range, right? So you're probably looking
Yeah.
at 70, 80 hours, right? That's probably a realistic completionist.
Mhm.
Yeah, because Valhalla, I
Versus
think, took me over 100 hours, and I wasn't trying to do everything.
exactly. So they're saying main plus extras for Valhalla is 100 hours. Completion is 150 hours.
Yeah, yeah,
And I spent 170.
yeah.
I
Valhalla was
I honestly
long.
It
I
was
think
long.
this could end up being my favorite Assassin's Creed game by the time I'm like, play more of it because of how good the stealth is with the environment
The
and
stealth, man.
yeah, and the replayability that I'm gonna find with this. Like, I know I will be continuing to come back to this game for
Yeah.
years
You know what makes me
just to
laugh
play that.
is that, we can enjoy a game and talk about what we may feel is a negative aspect on the game, but you can still enjoy the game and not hate it. You know what I'm saying? And then there's these people out there, some people call them grifters or whatever. I I see these guys. There's somebody who's really huge on YouTube that is playing the game. And I mean, not just playing the game, like really getting deep into it to where he's getting all those knowledge points and he's freaking doing all this stuff. Yet his thumbnails and his freaking, his freaking, the titles of his videos are like, oh, worst game ever, or, this. And it's like,
Mhm.
bro, you're obviously enjoying the game. Obviously, you wouldn't go through the trouble of going for those knowledge points and doing all this stuff and, beating the game if you were not enjoying it. So how can you sit there and call it the worst game ever? Or it's just like,
It
stop.
reminds me of
Those are the type of
Starfield, right?
these are
There's
the
somebody who
type of
played it for
grifters we're
300
seeing, bro.
hours and said it was horrible. You're like, it took you 300 hours to figure out it's bad?
Bro. Bro.
After 300 hours? Really?
Yeah. Obviously you enjoyed it. Obviously. And that's the thing. You can't trust all these people who are saying, I
Oh
don't
my God.
recommend this game or don't play that game. It sucks. Because a lot of these guys, if you look at their freaking achievements and stuff, they've unlocked them all. By the way, this guy did the same thing with Avowed. He did the same exact thing. Said it was trash and all this stuff, but got every achievement in the game. Why? Why would you do that? If it was so bad, stop.
No idea.
It's weird. But yeah.
Yeah. So
Go ahead.
I guess do you want to get into the controversy stupidities here?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So the only thing is so there's two things that are happening, right? One is the standard woke thing, right? Okay. There are things like that. Fair enough. If you don't like those things, don't engage. That's fine, right? So as you said, there's modes in the game. That's one option. don't buy it, don't play it. That's
Yeah.
fine. That's another option, right? I don't know if it's like out of the realm of you shouldn't talk about it if you don't like it. Fair enough. Go ahead. What I would say is for those who like these kind of games, give it a chance. The better thing you could do is just subscribe to Ubisoft Plus. You don't even have to buy the game, and just try it. Right? If it's for you, go for it. The area of concern to me was always Japan. If Japan itself had issues with something, then I would take it seriously, and they did. So there were gaps here that Ubisoft should have figured out, but did not. So they did some things that were, I'm not saying they're massive illegalities, but they were illegal, and so I think they're misdemeanors, right? But it's not cool. It got brought up in Parliament in Japan. It got brought to the Prime Minister, who condemned the game. So there's some stupidities that Ubisoft did do. They did fix one piece as a day one patch. They have more to do. I think there will be something more from this. It will not just go away. So I don't think it's going to be big. I don't think they're going to do anything massive. However, Japan is going to set an example to say, guys, don't do this. It's illegal.
Like, okay, so creative choice is illegal. Like, you know what I mean?
It doesn't matter. So let me try to put this in different terms for you. The East is not the West.
I understand that. I understand that. Right? So, but like,
so the Japanese are the biggest nationalists you can ever find. They're very, very, very touchy when it comes to their culture.
And there's some things you just can't do, right? So for instance, you can't. I've been there. You can't take pictures of certain temples. It's just illegal. You can't do it. Okay, they went ahead and did it without permission. It's like, you can't do that. You need to get permission, right? And they just said, we don't care. Well, no, you have to care. Sorry, you have to care.
Well, one of the biggest problems Ubisoft did was hire a white American guy to be their Japanese historian.
French guy.
Yeah,
white French guy.
But he was an American.
Either way, and that's. I thought he was French guy.
No, I think he's American.
Okay. Either way, person didn't know what was going on over there.
Oh, you might be talking about somebody else. Yeah, you might be talking about somebody else.
So the supposedly the cultural liaison for this game was in France. He was a French guy. So there are legalities, and you need to know about them, and then B, cultural sensitivity issues that you just can't do. The Tory Gate issue is one of those that you just like, what? You did this, really? You didn't even bother to check.
Well, when you play it now with the Tory Gate thing, like I got close to a Tory Gate. I got close to a Tory Gate, and it said like, don't climb on the Tory Gate to preserve the sanctity or whatever. And I'm like, okay, that's probably something they put
because they learned that one, right? They learned that one, but it wasn't in the game. This was a collector's item.
I want to climb on it.
The collector's edition. You're like, what are you doing?
He's trying to throw his grapple up to it.
I was like, I want to climb on this thing.
Yeah. So, but there's another one where you can rob an emperor's tomb, and it had the actual symbol of that house, but you can't use that without permission. Yeah. And they went ahead and did that, which, by the way, happens to be the current emperor's symbol. So. They're just stupid things.
They were also mad at the desecration of their shrines in the game.
Yeah,
that's what they
which
fixed.
Is the one thing they fixed. So look, these are like the legality issues that they should have realized, right? If you're going to that country, you have to follow their laws. It's just the way it is, right? So, but it doesn't occur to them, right? They just don't think of these things. The East is not the West. You just have to think of these things. Unfortunately, they didn't go that far. I think this is something that they hopefully learn and go, and the next time they'll do better, right? But I think there's gonna be some little like public apology needed, something that's gonna be enough that it'll inform the other publishers out there. Hey, if you're doing something here, make sure you follow the rules.
Yeah, there's a difference between like doing something in real life versus doing it in a video game. You know what I mean? And for me, it's like, okay, well, in the West, like, yeah, it's illegal to blow up a building, but we do it every day in video games.
We have,
you know what I mean?
We're like so much more relaxed here in the West, though.
Literally this craziest. I've seen the craziest stuff that we've done in video games that is highly illegal,
Yeah.
right? I just don't understand. I understand where they can have their stance and the government can have their stance and stuff, but to have this like outcry from what I see is from a lot of Western people about,
No, no.
oh,
This
we
is from
can't, we,
Japan's government.
right. No, I understand that, but you see this, you see the people taking the, oh, well, we got to stand up for Japan and their government because like it's so wrong that Ubisoft would have done this in a video game and using that almost like part of this culture war thing that we've had been going on for so long and adding to that when this isn't even the same situation. For me, this is like I wish we could just do what we want in video games and not have a government tell us what we can and can't do in a video game,
Yeah,
right?
tell
And I
that to
get that
China.
that's
Tell that to Japan, bro. It
I
doesn't
get
work the
it.
same over there, bro.
I get it. I
Yeah.
get it. But like it's weird to see people
Yeah.
have attached this like
Yeah.
last year to the culture war stuff and act like it's is like some other reason for everybody to be outraged and upset, primarily uh and I think part of it was motivated by something else, and then they latched onto this because they didn't want to
Yeah.
seem racist.
Yeah, and like there's a confluence of many different things, right? So originally woke was intended to be about colored people being not as well integrated into society here, right? That was what the intent was. Just to understand that hey, maybe you have
Yeah.
unconscious biases. It went way beyond that. It's not where it's where its intent was, and where we are today is totally different, right? And unfortunately, it's encompassed all this other stuff, which unfortunately now brings totally different eyeballs into everything, right? And so that's not what was intended. But as far as these, all I'm pointing out is publishers should be wary of doing things that. So here's another one: you can't go photograph certain mosques because it's just not allowed,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
And did it. Yeah, that would be culturally very insensitive. You might get in big trouble, right? So these are just things you have to think about, right? And I'm sure they went and got permission when they've done stuff in the Middle East. I'm sure they went to those governments and got permission. I don't think they even thought about it in Japan. Like, no, you still have to do that in Japan. That's it. It's just a simple, stupid thing.
Yeah.
They should have realized that. Now, if it never went anywhere and it was just like you're saying, a whole bunch of morons on the internet talking, I don't give a shit. Fine, go talk. When it goes to the prime minister of the country, something went wrong, right? So it will happen out of this, I'm sure. I don't think it's going to be big, though. I don't think they're going to do anything crazy. These are misdemeanors, right? So they're going to do something. And I think there's going to be some public apology needed or something stupid.
Yeah,
like
it kind
that
of sets a
because they just want
precedence,
public to
though.
realize, "Oh, do this."
I think
Yeah,
this will
that's
set
it.
a
Don't
precedence
set a
for
bad
others.
precedent.
Yeah, for others. Like if you're going to
Exactly.
come and make a video game here, you guys are going to obey and do
Or a
what we
movie
say.
or anything.
Yeah.
They want to be clear. It's like, no, we have our rules. You need to follow.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
I get that aspect. I just don't get the
Yeah.
response from people.
I think Mav. I
Like-
think your problem is I think this is it. I think it was the response by some of these Americans that were blowing it up even worse than the Japanese were.
that is 100% what I'm
Yeah.
trying to say, Fonz. Like the latching onto something that's like, hey, yeah, let them handle their legalities and their mistakes like
Yep.
they would number all the time. But don't act like you ultra care about this now when you've been promoting like how we should have creative freedom for decades. So
we got
now
problems.
all of a sudden it's like opposite because of this you're going to latch on and it's 100% these people have latched onto that because it was another reason to shit on this game early on after they saw something that they weren't happy about in the first place that they were afraid to come out and say what they were upset about.
It's funny that we have people like that do that here about our own politics and agendas or whatever. They're always grandstanding and pretending like they really care about other people's plights and stuff, and they don't give a shit, man. It's so fucking bad. But anyways, yeah,
Sometimes it does
you know what those
seem
are?
like it's grifting, right?
Those
But
are
anyway,
grifting.
whatever.
Those are grifting motherfuckers. Okay. The other thing I want to mention about the game too is Digital Foundry came out and showed the PS5 Pro version, and this is the first time I'll say the PS5 Pro version looked really good, because it's the first time we see RTGI look really good on a console game, especially in a performance mode. So they basically took the RTGI from their quality mode and they're able to get 60 frames out of that in the performance mode. Looked really good. So kudos to them for being able to do that. That's awesome. Want to see more of that. And with that, Face 23BKNY with the 1999 super chat. You sent this a while ago. Hopefully you're still out there, Face. He said, at Hargeet Chani, I'm willing to bet you a 50/90.
He's always trying to bet something.
I know. Sony will block PlayStation games on the next Xbox or license issues. And I seen somebody else in the chat say, no, they can't do that. They could. They could very well do that. It's not hard to block games from a service or a platform. You can definitely do that. I mean,
but the platform here is called Windows, and I don't think they would block Windows. But if they want to block Windows,
they could,
by all
and they might
means.
be that petty. They might be that petty to do that.
Which
'Cause-
means that they would have no games on PC. That's fine.
No,
That's
no,
fine.
not necessarily. I was talking to Zocker. Zocker said they could do that and still have their games on PC, but block certain access
Windows.
to those games.
No, they would block Windows.
They would block.
Here's what the
right?
new thing is, right? So the new thing is I hit my Xbox button and I bring up the Xbox app on
Okay.
Windows. So now you're telling me what they're gonna say. You know what? No. If you have Xbox app on your Windows machine, we're gonna block the game. Good luck.
They'll block.
Good luck.
They will. They're that petty. They will block anything just
Let
to
them
keep
be.
it off the
no,
Xbox.
honestly, let them be. You
They
know what
will.
that means, right? PlayStation's gonna die because their
I don't
studios
know.
are dying as it is. They keep closing them. So great option. You know what? For everybody who has the Xbox app on their Windows machine, how many have the Xbox app on their Windows? It's there by default for almost every one of them. So everybody who has Xbox app on their Windows machine, you're not going to be able to install a PlayStation game. That's a brilliant idea. I recommend that they do that. PlayStation should absolutely do that. Just like the PSN login, that's a brilliant idea. You should do that at PlayStation. Make sure your studios don't make money. That's a brilliant idea.
Well-
your fanboys, they need this. They need this.
But see, they look at
Kind
it
of
as
bullshit.
they
But
look at it
seriously.
as we need to sell PS6s. That's the way they're looking at it as.
No, they need to sell games. They need to make money.
Bro, I'm with you 100%, but this is their mentality, and it's been that way for how many generations? We need to sell
Yeah.
consoles.
How's
That's
that
their
working
primary
out?
focus.
How many studios they closed in the last few years?
And and let me ask you this. How many copies of their games that they've published the last 2 years, how many are they selling? Not many. Not many.
Ragnarok's probably the most successful.
Yeah, but
Like,
I'm
really,
saying the
I-
last 2 years. Ragnarok was what, 2020, 2021?
20
Overall,
I think
though,
2022.
I think in
2020.
reality, like as Xboxes become more of just like PCs that you plug into your TV, PlayStation actually sees them even less of a threat, and it's like, okay, why just not have our games even
I mean,
accessible on all the storefronts?
I would ask,
like,
what the hell?
they
is the
can put it
point of
on
having a
Epic
PS6?
eventually, Steam. Like,
What's the point of having a PS6 not be another Windows machine?
right. It's like I just think a lot of this whole like idea of exclusives and consoles and all that stuff is
It's gonna
starting to
it's
fade
gonna-
away, and
Yeah.
it's 5-10 years from
But hey, you know
now,
what?
it's going to continue to
I think-
evolve, and that's going to melt away, and you're going to see the games just
I-
playable wherever you can.
Yeah,
access
honestly,
them.
Mav,
I think there are
you're
going to be
100%
people who are going
right.
to be stuck
Yeah.
in this world, though. I think there are going to be people who are stuck in this world. Let them be stuck in this world. And I don't know if Sony will sit there and say the right path is we're going to be on an island when everybody else in the world is going to be using Windows. Okay, sure.
If they could make more profit off of their hardware and sell enough, then they would. But they're not
Yeah, I
Nintendo.
think that's gonna be the case.
Nintendo can make a lot of profit on their devices, but PlayStation doesn't make a lot of profit on the device.
Well,
So,
Nintendo is a different animal altogether because
100%.
they're not going the way of the traditional console at all. They're
Mhm.
basically handheld hybrid. We do what we want. Our games freaking sell. They're an enigma. When it comes to PlayStation and
They are.
Xbox, though, I'm not claiming to know it all about the industry or anything, but one thing I do know is that games are what makes these companies the most money. Software is king. It's not the hardware that makes you the
Yep.
most money. Now it's also microtransactions, let's face it. But
Yeah.
aside from that, if you look at the people that do look into it, the so-called expert analysts and stuff, they are telling me that, or telling all of us, I should say, that consoles are stagnant now. Like the sales for these consoles are pretty stagnant. They're not really growing anymore. So of course, looking at what Microsoft did, it looks obvious that that you need to put your games everywhere. If you want to sell, just put the games everywhere, day and date. And Sony eventually is going to have to realize that. I know a lot of people will argue with me on that, but I mean, come on. I don't see a world in which Sony is any different when it comes to just the traditional console. If it's not freaking, if it's stagnant, if it's not selling any more than they expect it to sell year after year. And matter of fact, I think I'm not sure if they've even, if they're even selling on pace with the PS4. Are they? Or have they said anything about that?
It's it's
So
about the same, I think.
Okay, so
yeah, so in
we're
the
at the
US it's a
same.
little ahead. Globally, it's a little behind.
Okay, so it's about the same here in the US. So be it. It's stagnant. The sales aren't going any higher. A lot of people are moving on to different devices and stuff. I don't think that what they're doing now with the tradition in the traditional sense is going to be something that's going to help them in the long term. I don't. And we're going to get to the point where, like you said, Mav, games are going to be played on so many different devices, these same games,
Yeah.
and I don't know what they're waiting for, especially for just even the PC day and date. I don't know what they're waiting for, but they've obviously made more money putting their games on PC even a year later. Just think of how much more money they would get if they just put it out day and date. It's
They're kind of in
crazy.
this middle place right now while they're waiting for things to kind of evolve and catch up to where they're gonna start doing that, I think. But I think we've still got a few more years before they get there. Xbox has accelerated everything once the ABK acquisition happens, so that's why I think we've seen so much drastic changes so quickly from
Yeah.
them because they are see the okay, well, we got what we needed. Now we're going to just go full bore into this new
Yeah.
world and to get started now. I think they're all hands on deck with that unified ecosystem and everything behind the scenes, right? Trying to get all of that ready
Yeah.
because that's the most important part for next gen for them is to have this unified storefront because that's what makes everything work. And so, but that involves a lot of hurdles that they've had to get over. So, but PlayStation is not in the position to be able to do that. No, I mean,
Now what they
they
could
can't.
do,
They're too reliant
what
on
what
the existing models currently.
what they could do is what Steam did. They could put Proton on their PlayStation and be able to do a Steam emulation of Windows games, right? So
Yeah.
they could bring that store over and emulate Windows games with Proton. That is an option. So if they wanted to take that as a potential for the next gen, they could take that on. Now, what does that mean from a hardware perspective? I don't know, right? They'll have to figure that out as far as to how much like extra overhead they'll need to make that happen. But it is a possibility, right? So we'll leave it to them to compete. They can do that. They could also just join the Windows world and say, hey, we'll just throw on the same bloody thing,
Mhm.
but we'll have extra benefits if you buy our box. And you get these extra features, you get these extra backwards compatibilities or whatever it is, right? Wouldn't it be nice if they actually work with Microsoft to actually get backwards compatibility? You can bloody play PS3 games in emulation on freaking Xbox. Sorry,
No.
on PC, but you can't play them on freaking PlayStation. What the hell's anyway?
I
Um,
see this from PlayStation 2 real quick. But they still don't have their PC storefront, their own, right? But we've known for
yeah,
a while that they had been working on one.
they're working it.
But
Right? That's the
they
PSN
have
login, right? They're getting there.
and they're
They're
already
getting
adding this
there.
library of games to Steam and stuff. So like they're building up this library.
They're getting there.
I can see like let's say in the next year or two, whatever they finally launch their PC store, right? They add their library of games that already exist on PC to that. Now they have another access point for the subscription service, right?
Yep.
That they have for that back catalog of games. And that at that point, that's when I see day and date happening is when they have their own storefront and they want to try to start migrating as many people as they can when they have a game drop to use their store instead of Steam. But that's
Um,
that'll take some time, you know.
Yeah,
uh,
the going away from Steam thing though, I don't. Not even Microsoft's like, yeah, no.
yeah.
No, I
So
think they'll
Freaking
keep their games
Activision
on.
tried it.
They're not going to be into exclusivity, I think, but
Yeah,
I think they'll
yeah.
still have the storefront to drop their
I
games.
think everybody
are you
Mandate
talking
by
about
default they need to be on Steam.
the Xbox UI leak with the Steam?
Well, for
Yeah, so people have been taking that as sacrosanct. Uh, like hold your horses. We don't know what exactly that all means,
Yeah,
right?
I don't. Yeah, I was going to ask you, Hargy. I have no idea what this means because all I saw was a little Steam category. Matter of fact, I have the picture
Yeah.
here. I can put it up.
So what we understand and what I've been predicting for a while is that on the Windows side, they're going to take and give you a launcher, right? So that the interface for you on a PC can launch into a console-based interface, right? It makes a lot more sense when you're buying a ROG Ally that it does not launch into a desktop UI. It launches into a sort of Xbox UI, right? So that's what they're going to do. They're going to have their Xbox launcher be the default launcher. It comes up. It'll have all the stores kind of built into it so that you get all of your catalog, right? So I don't know if you ever tried Play Night. That's a launcher that allows you to plug into all the different stores. You get all your games in one massive library. You don't care where they are. You just play the game, right? It launches whatever it needs to in the background, and you play your game. And it includes Game Pass and all that stuff, right? So what they're going to do in this is essentially do that. It's going to be that. You can plug in your Epic store, your Steam store, your whatever store, right? They'll all just be there. All your games will show up in one library. It'll look much like your my games and apps that you have today, right? And you can have that from whichever launcher. Doesn't matter. You just launch your game and it just plays it, right? So that's kind of what they're looking at. So that would be on the Windows side, right? Now, there's speculation that next gen for Xbox will sort of just be that. That'll be it. That'll be your next gen, right? So it might be, it might not be. We don't really know. But if it is, then yeah, that basically becomes a Windows machine that's running a kind of locked down Xbox launcher. So you're probably not going to have the access to the desktop mode. You're going to only have access to the Xbox launcher, right? Versus if you buy a normal machine, you have access to do both. Up to you. You choose desktop mode or you choose, the Xbox GUI. Up to you, right? But so that's what's really kind of leaked is the sort of Windows thing that's going to happen at some point. And I don't know when they're going to actually launch that. I think it's in beta now, but they're going to launch that at some point.
It's interesting because a lot of people have questions about, having these different storefronts and, whether or not you're going to be going through one particular storefront to buy a game that, let's say you go to the Xbox store. Why would Steam, I guess a better way to put it is, why would Steam want to be involved on the same UI as, say, the Xbox storefront and the Epic storefront?
Why would it matter? Why would it matter?
Because it's like they're all their competition, I guess, like.
It's there today. Like,
But
how
it's
is it different
also-
for you?
yeah.
Like, I have it today with Play Night, right? It's there today. You can do that today, right? You can bring up either one on your PC.
Yeah, I can
So
open
it's
up
all-
a tab right now, and I can open up Epic.
Exactly.
Steam,
Yeah, I
like
see what you're
GOG.
saying, but like this would be specific to like an Xbox or
Well, you're thinking of an Xbox as an Xbox. The thing is, the
Yeah,
Xbox
yeah.
is going to evolve, right? It's going to now essentially be a PC, so you no longer have this restriction anymore. And that also allows it to be on multiple devices instead of just Microsoft, right? So we will see where this evolves, right? But the right path is eventually it just kind of dissipates. The console is just a device that's more constrained. So you have Windows that has like a sort of lockdown mode. That already has existed for a long time, right? So you strip away things you don't need. It's just Windows, but it's stripped down for a specific use case. That's what they're going to do here. And then basically just it's always been that. They've just now will say, we'll give that to anybody. Anybody want to do it? Here you go.
Yeah, and that's what's coming into my mind, and people that are asking these questions, it's like you're thinking about the console being locked to just one platform, and you're not understanding that, hey, there's a lot of other platforms on there. If you were on PC, yeah, sure, you can open up a browser, buy from Steam, buy from Epic, whatever you want to do, but you
Don't
just
care.
weren't traditionally able to do that for a console. So
Yeah,
now
and now
they're
you
just
can probably
opening
just
that
do them all.
floodgate.
Right, exactly.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And
For
and
me,
that way
for
Go
me, the
ahead, sorry. Go ahead, Ron.
conversation has been like a lot of people are like, "Well, it doesn't make sense for Xbox.
That's
How
what
are
I'm
they going to
saying.
sell?
Yeah, for
How are they going to
Xbox.
sell consoles and all this stuff?" I'm like, man, it's like, does it make sense for me? Like, yes. Would
As a
I want
consumer,
to?
right, you get
Would
to
I want
choose.
to buy that device? Like, I own what I can access all my console games, all my
Steam
Xbox
games. Yeah.
games, my Game Pass
Exactly,
games, my Steam games.
everything.
I'm like, that's what I want to hook to my TV. Right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's what
and
I
then
want to get to hook
Makes
to my
sense.
TV because I get everything. Why would
and
I
then the
not want access to everything? It's also
And
better for competition for us as consumers for the
exactly.
storefronts to be exact in
Exactly.
front of our eyes to where we can easily shop between deals on consoles. This world already exists today on PCs. It already exists
Exactly.
today on PCs. Anybody that has a PC, you can buy your game on Epic, you can buy your game on Steam, you can buy your game on GOG if they're in multiple places, right? The exclusivity
Always
sometimes
hurt
exists
us, right?
only where there
Exactly.
are specific storefronts that only have this kind of
And
yeah.
game,
and and the
right?
and the exclusivity game starts to dissipate, right? So all these third-party lockdowns, even PlayStation has relented. They come to Steam day and date now because you just can't take that away from that developer, right? They're losing money when they can't put their game on PC day and date with PlayStation, right?
Right.
So that eliminates that whole problem. The
And
only
so this
games that will
is
be
just
exclusive will be Nintendo and PlayStation's first-party non-multiplayer games. You're
giving the
talking
freedom
very
of
few games.
choice like that PC gamers have
It's
enjoyed for so long
yeah.
and it making it more attractive
Exactly.
to the users that want that ease of use, that easily pluggable to a TV, that is
Exactly.
simplified interface. And
It
now all of a sudden you have all that same freedom of choice and everything that everybody had. The hurdle they have is to make the console games accessible in the back cat
And that's a
library and
legality
everything
issue
to
much
that.
more than a tech
it's
Yes,
issue.
100%.
So,
it's
Pardon
yeah,
me.
one of
so
the
as long
reasons
as they
I
can get the
prefer
legalities worked out.
Android over Apple. It's
Yeah,
openness.
yeah,
I love
exactly.
the fact that
Yeah,
I can
exactly.
access,
Do
Yeah.
whatever you want.
you know what I'm saying? Like,
And Roshan Eppinger says, "Connect your PC to your TV like I do." It's great. Yeah, that's and for
I
enthusiasts,
do as well,
yeah,
that's
yeah,
awesome.
me
but
But
too. Yeah.
that's not going to be
it's
little
not as good as a
Jimmy.
console.
That's not going to be little Jimmy getting his first thing to plug into a TV for the first
Yeah.
time. It's like
And it may
four
be,
hundred
but
dollars.
it's not the same experience. Like every time I turn on my PC, okay, here are the updates. Okay, I got it. I just want to play a game. Right? Like,
Yeah.
so it's just that's just the way it is. Not like if you play every day on a PC, you're probably doing those updates every day. For me, I turn it on like once every like month. And it's like, oh, here we
Oh,
go.
so you have to
All
wait a
like here's
while
another
for certain
hour
things. Yeah.
for all the
You,
stupid updates.
you
You
remember
know,
how back in the day we would talk about in the future will there just be like one console that can play everything, right?
and that's where we're getting. That's exactly where we're getting.
This is where we're getting to
Exactly.
now, but it just it takes some
And the
changes to
beauty
make it
is,
happen.
it's no longer one device. So if you have the 7900 XT, is that what you had, right? So let's say you want to buy a PC that has that, right? And you can find a vendor that says,
Mhm.
I'm going to make an Xbox that has that level of power. There you go. Right?
Right.
Next year,
So
we'll
you
get
have option of
is it
choice
the
on
90
device as well as
as power levels. Exactly. Is it the 9900, 9800? What's the new one that just came out?
98.
9500,
Oh,
I think, or
Yeah,
50. I
whatever it
don't
is that
know.
just came out,
Can't
right?
remember.
Oh, you want that one? No problem. Oh, you want the 5090? No problem. Want the 5070? No problem. Somebody will give it to you in an OEM fashion that's an Xbox, right? So that's what you get. So it'll change at any time. So you're no longer in this like 7-year generation bullshit. You can get whatever you want anytime. It doesn't matter anymore. And it's,
that
performance
would throw an
characteristics are up to you.
interesting dynamic into the whole, console scene for sure. And
Yeah.
honestly, and Face, you're not going to want to hear this, but that sounds like it would hurt Sony.
Unless
Because
they
if
adopt
somebody,
the same bloody model.
because if you're telling me that different manufacturers can create essentially an Xbox, but it's not really an Xbox. I mean, it is, but it's open to everything besides Sony games. It's more attractive to a lot more people.
Yeah. And so what is like PlayStation really gonna say every single device out there that's playing games, oh, we're gonna lock that one, we're gonna lock that one, they're not gonna do that.
I
They're
think they
just
will
not.
do it because they're that petty. And I think that will be the downfall of
I don't
them.
think that's
They're
what
going
they
to
will do.
end up having to open up, the floodgates. They're going to have to. Face 23, by
This
the way,
Windows.
he sent another super chat. Thank you very much, Face. He says, Microsoft needs to
Oh, he
sell
did.
games. Sony is focused on console. Why? Why are they only focused on... they need to focus on games, Face. I mean, because a lot of people right now, I mean, I see people even in the Sony community, like even laughing. They're laughing now anyway. They're saying it in jest, but they're saying things like, "Oh yeah, we're going to get fed by Xbox and everything," because there is nothing really down the pipeline coming out of Sony. Like we know the games that are coming, and honestly, very few of them that are coming that I know about. I'm even interested, like at just the smallest amount of interest is going towards them from a lot of people. Like Intergalactic
Sadly.
is so polarizing. Right now, people are like,
Which I
they're
didn't
not even looking
expect, by the
forward
way. I
to.
didn't understand that. I don't know why you guys hate it so much, but you
Well,
do.
I don't like
Yeah, it
the
looks great
premise
to
of
me.
the game at all. I don't like the premise of the game
Yeah.
at all. It's
I
about
I
religion
was
and
willing to give
stuff.
it a
I
chance. I'm
just
like,
don't.
okay,
I don't care.
whatever. But my God, the like to dislike on that is bad. Oh my God, it's like
I just like
almost 3 to 1.
the
It's
like
bad.
80s esque like retro
Oh, I
theme with
love
the
that
sci-fi
aspect.
futuristic
I
stuff.
love that
Like
aspect,
I'm
but I
like
don't.
all into that.
Yeah, I thought that
I
was kind of cool. It's like, okay, fine,
but
fair
I,
enough.
but I'll be completely honest. I don't like a bald protagonist, and I don't like the fact that it's like surrounding religion. I don't care. Like I don't. I don't want to play a game like that.
Um,
I don't want a preachy
look,
game.
I'm still hoping Ghost of Yotai is good. I hope it's good.
Oh, I still
Because
have
I
faith
love
in Ghost
Ghost
of
of
Yotai. I'm
Tsushima. I
looking
loved
forward to
it.
Ghost of Yotai. That's one of the
I
games
hope
I'm
it's
really looking
good.
forward to. Ghost of Yotai and Wolverine. Still looking forward to
I
it.
hope Wolverine's good too. I don't know. The stuff we've seen so far hasn't been that great, but I hope it's good.
It's
I don't know.
alpha footage though. It's alpha. We gotta. It's
Yeah,
alpha.
I hope it's good.
But yeah, and aside from that, I was talking to somebody the other day and I was like, when have we ever had a Game of the Year winner that only sold 1.5 million copies? When has that ever happened in the history of Game of the Year winners?
It takes two. How many did it sell? Because it was an
Oh,
indie
that sold
game.
a lot.
It Takes Two is I think 10 something
Sold a lot.
ridiculous. It was pretty
Yeah,
up there.
Astrobot sold only
Okay,
1.5.
How many copies did
Stellar Blade only sold 1 million. Like
sell?
there's so many games that
20
came
million, dude. 20 million copies.
20 million
Oh my God.
copies? It takes two?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
loved it. It was my game of the year.
That was
But I'm just
such a good
saying, like,
game.
because people
Such a
could
good
say,
game.
and the reason why I love that you brought that up, Mav, is because people out there will say, well, it's a smaller platformer. Blah, blah.
Yeah.
So is It Takes Two.
Right.
So is It Takes Two.
Yeah, I
So
would've
is
never
just
imagined
about
It Takes Two would've sold
90%
that.
of Nintendo games.
Yeah.
And they sell like gangbusters. Why did Astrobot get Game of the Year and only sell 1.5 mil? Kind of strange. It's weird. It's a big deal to me. That's weird. Out of 75 million
whatever.
possible, exactly, Cullen Prime, 75 million consoles out there, and only
Hopefully
1.5
over
are
the
sold.
holidays. I don't know what the latest
So
numbers are, but
the person earlier that was asking like that said that had the super chat about or
yeah.
PlayStation only cares about hardware sales and Xbox needs software sales. Like, what's the
Well, he's saying
reason
that
that
focused
PlayStation
on
focused
consoles.
on? Yeah, okay. So, but what? Yeah, they're focused on consoles, of course, because they have to sell them in order to sell games. The problem they're having right now is they're not having as many people buy games as they used to. So even if they are a little ahead on console sales, like they still need to expand their reach, as they have said themselves numerous times, to get their games in more places. So that's why you've seen them go to PC and do things that a lot of the PlayStation guys said they will never do that. We will never see Spider-Man on PC. It'll
Well-
never happen. And yeah, of
Yes,
course
but
it's
it did.
happened because they need to sell games.
Yeah, it was
They
funny.
need-
The
that's
day
how they make their money.
So there was a day when we found out in the Xbox community that Horizon was going to go to PC. It was the first game, right? I remember the day dealer called me and he goes, "Hey, put a tweet out. Horizon's going to PC." And I said, "What? I'm not going to do that. That's stupid." He goes, "Bro, I'm telling you right now, I just got word. It's going to PC." And then I go look on Twitter and I see Rand posted it. And I go, "Okay, all right, dealer, you're not shitting me, are you?" So I posted it too. Bro, the amount of hate I got from Sony guys was unbelievable. And I just bookmarked all their tweets. I took screenshots. And sure enough, like a year or so later when it came out on PC, I put out all those screenshots and I said, "What now? What now?" Because that was just a funny ass time, man. Oh man, it was crazy times.
Look, we'll see where the industry goes, right? I still think PlayStation has huge brand recognition, and that will keep them sustained for a bit. And so we'll see where that goes. I just don't know how valuable that is for the consumer in the very long run, right? So we're talking like 10, 15 years out. I think people are going to like find, hey, it's much easier to get these like PC devices just because there's going to be tons of them. And then they're just going to keep coming out. Like you just keep seeing a new thing come out, a new thing come out. Usually you just want the enthusiasm, like, oh, this is a new device. Did you check it out? And like you just want to see what it's about, right? So maybe you pick one up. And eventually you're like, well, now I'm in this ecosystem. It's a PC. Okay. Right? And then like Fonz, you start seeing, damn, these Steam sales are freaking awesome.
Yeah.
I can, what? How much is it? $3 for this game? Yes,
yeah,
please.
And you just pick it up. I know it's like nostalgia hits. You're like, I'm never gonna play that again, but it's $2. It's $2.
Exactly.
I'm picking it up. I love that
You
game.
not pick it up.
Yeah, it's so dumb, but that happens. Yeah, that happens.
So, you know, and you'll like I don't know if people do it, but like you go to Amazon Prime, if you're a customer, you get free games, tons of them every month. You know, you go to like Epic Games.
Yeah,
Store,
you were the one that told me about Amazon. I had no idea they gave
Like,
away games. I was like, what?
Why not?
I got a few free games from Amazon and Epic.
Yeah.
I just go open
getting
Epic Launcher once a month just to see
get
what
the game
I can
yeah.
get for free.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Just
you know, Amazon Prime again, Prime dot Amazon Gaming or something like whatever it is. But
Yeah.
you look it up. Just you know, Prime Gaming. They give you like probably like 10, 15 games a month. Just go get them. Whatever. It's free games. Why not make your library?
Yeah. And then you got Green Man Gaming for cheap sales and
Cheap codes. You got CD keys. You got Eneba. You got
G2A. There's so many. Honestly, like, of course, the entry fee is steep with PC. You're going to pay more, but once you're in, the games, the software is so much cheaper. It's immensely cheaper.
No online, right? There's no online.
No
access
online
fees.
pay. Yeah.
You're there. And then when you upgrade, you don't have to worry about, do I have to pay $10 for an upgrade to my game? No.
And if you like Game Pass, it's only $11 on PC.
Yeah.
Get Game Pass.
Yeah. And you have Ubisoft Plus available. You have EA Play Pro available, right? So go to town. You get to do whatever you want. It's great stuff. There's a lot of games, by the way, that people don't realize are exclusive to PC.
Thank you for bringing all that PC talk up, Hargeet, because my Xbox Mike will love that. Or what was his name? He was asking earlier. He was like, "Did I remind people that I'm a PC gamer now?" I said, "Not yet." Anyway, Xbox Mike or I don't know
look,
what his name was.
it's hard to ignore. The PC is a great platform. I have it, but I don't use it all the time. I still primarily play on my Xbox, but every now and then I shift over to PC when it's convenient to use that one. So I have it there, and then the Switch is there for all those exclusives. Switch 2 inbound. I think.
Yeah, dude. I said, man, you know, I'm looking at the Switch as well, and I don't even play the Switch, but my kids will. My kids have always played.
I mean, this is going to be
play the party
killer
games and stuff all the time. Mario Party, Mario Kart. Those are staples at parties and stuff at my house. So
yeah.
We're definitely going to play that.
Can't wait.
Yeah.
April 2, probably around 10 o'clock in the morning in Eastern time. You might be getting some pre-order times. Just saying.
Remember, if you have a Switch though, and you're playing, and you're at a party setting, and you got a bunch of different Joy-Cons and stuff to play with, give your guests the stick drift Joy-Cons. Those are fun times. They're like, what's going on? I'm moving this way, but it's going that way. Oh, don't worry about it. You suck.
Supposedly they're using newer technology that will.
I heard that.
We'll see.
I hope, because those Joy-Cons, man, my son goes through them like crazy. He's like, oh, I need new Joy-Con.
I don't use
stick
the
drift.
Joy-Cons. I just have the Pro controller and I just use that.
Yeah, but he likes to use it in
Hasn't been a
handheld
problem.
mode a lot. So
Yeah. I gotcha.
yeah, he loves using it in handheld. All right. Anything else you guys want to bring up? If not, we can wrap up the show. But man, I had a great time today. It was really fun.
Well, we did have GDC.
Oh yeah.
I
So
don't know if there
anything
was
that came out of
really anything
GDC? Because
major.
I mean, I saw the Future
Um,
Games Showcase, and I really didn't even put that on today's topics because I did not really care for it. I watched
There
it
were some
all.
good announcements, but it was long. There was some
Yeah.
good announcements. There was a lot of fluff, but there
And
was
a
some
lot
good
of,
announcements.
I mean, if you're into AA, you probably would like some
Yeah,
of those games, but they had a
yeah. I mean,
lot of
you see the big
smaller
AAA's
games.
there, right? That's probably not going to happen. They're probably going to be on bigger stages. But yeah, but it was good. It was good enough. I don't mind the AA scene. That's fine. And there was a lot of indies, of course. That's fine.
Yeah.
Whatever. So yeah, if there's probably some interesting games for everybody in there if you want to check it out. There's probably a good synopsis you don't have to spend. It's like an hour and a half, something like that, right? An hour and a half, 2 hours.
Yeah.
It was pretty long.
It was long.
But yeah, get a synopsis of the games and hopefully you can see something you like. Then we got that image of the Xbox with the Steam UI, right? They actually had a roundtable discussion about that whole thing. And then we got the controversy like that image being leaked with the Steam. But yeah, don't read too much into it immediately. It is very likely that there is going to be a Steam integration into the launcher. That is pretty close to confirmed. But Steam, Epic, all those will be in the launcher for Windows, right? The Xbox shell for Windows. As far as next gen, nothing is confirmed at all. But it is more likely than not. So we will see what that looks like. That looks like. So we'll get there. We'll get there when we get there. But that was kind of the stuff from GDC. There's also NVIDIA showing off some pretty cool robotics. I don't know if you checked that out.
I
That was
saw
pretty
that.
cool.
That was crazy.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. What else do I remember from GDC? Nothing else is really coming to mind. But
No, in
I'm
terms
sure
of
there was other
gaming,
stuff.
there wasn't really much
So,
that
Yeah.
So
I think we
uh,
saw like the Xbox thing, that they posted on Xbox Wire was probably stuff they were showing developers behind the scenes, and that's probably where that came from. Because they were using that as like a meeting point to sell Xbox Anywhere and to get these and talk about how they can make one copy of the game and it'll be playable forever in the future on every device and sell
which I
that
love.
on.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
I wish
Cool.
that was industry wide. I mean, I understand why it's not. I understand from a business standpoint because people are always throwing that at me. But fonts, from a business standpoint, that makes no sense. They make less money. I'm like, I don't give a fuck from a business standpoint. I am a consumer. I am the gamer.
exactly.
I'm not the one who should care about those things. I want to buy it once and play it anywhere I want.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's what I want.
Man. Yep, and I hate having to make that choice now, man. Like when a game comes out, like Monster Hunter Wilds, I had to make that choice. Like,
Yeah.
oh, do I get it on Xbox? Do I get it on PC? Because like I do split my time, and like I know I'm gonna get the best experience if I play on my PC, just because of my graphics card and
But
stuff,
then you
right?
have friends over on the Xbox.
But yeah, I had exactly, and even if it's like cross play or cross whatever, it's like still just about access to my game where I'm comfortable and when I wanna play it, and just being able to either buy or sub to a service and being able to play a game wherever I am is what I want the
Yeah.
future of gaming to be,
You
right?
mean
That's
like what Microsoft's touting?
Of
Like,
course.
yeah,
It's what they're
100%,
pushing.
yeah.
Yeah. I,
Play wherever
That's-
you want, whenever you want, with whomever you want.
That's definitely one thing I'm fully on board with
Yeah.
from Xbox, 110%. Cygnus brings up an interesting little topic here. He says, I can already see GTA 6 would push PS5 to 100 million this year. Now, I don't think it would push to 100 million, but do you think that GTA 6 is going to push a lot of people to buy more consoles in general?
Yeah, for sure. Because it'll only be on console.
Do you think they're
I've
waiting
had
for
this
that?
It's not going to be on PC.
Because I know
had
guys
this-
that are on PC that are literally telling me they're just going to wait till it hits PC.
Right. I've had this thought, like, I'm curious if Microsoft could angle enough money to them to allow the GTA 6 to be on the stream your own game feature. because if it is like Assassin's Creed Shadows, if you buy it on Xbox, you can stream your own game, which means it's playable on PC and it looks really well. I mean, it plays pretty good. So if you wanted to have that like year of just padding and waiting for the PC version to come out, but you still want to play GTA 6, if it's available with stream your own game, then you would be able to play it on PC or on a tablet or any device. I just don't know if Xbox will be able to get that done. But that would be an interesting thing to see how many if they could sell Game Pass Ultimate subs just by having GTA 6 and stream your own game, right?
Hmm.
So curious, keep an eye on it. WWE 2K25 just launched. It wasn't, but they put 2K did put WWE 2K24. They put Top Spin 2K25. They put NBA 2K25 all in the stream your own game feature for
Mm.
Xbox. So it'll be curious to keep an eye on to see if they can make that happen.
Abdel, I don't
When we
think
access
that
it.
Abdel says PC gamers are saying they'll wait or lying. No, bro, a couple of the guys that I know that have said that are not lying. They will wait. Guys like Zocker, you might know Zocker87. He's in the community. He's
But he
waiting.
has an Xbox. He could always play.
No, but he doesn't want.
I
He
think
doesn't want to. He wants to play it on the PC.
the audience they're gonna that we're expecting to convert are PS4 and Xbox One players who haven't already switched. Right? There's still a huge chunk of those.
Yeah.
If they want to finally upgrade, they would upgrade. And this would be one of those games that would drive it. And usually that happens a couple of years into the gen, but so far the cross gen has just continued, right? So
Yeah, that's been
and the
a
black
problem.
hole games will continue. This gen, when it goes to next gen, God knows when it'll end, right?
Bro, do you know
It's-
that? Yeah, I've already heard people say that next gen, when we go into next generation, the cross generation period is going to be years, many years.
Yeah.
Because
Well, so AC Shadows, for instance, is not on Xbox One and PS4.
yeah,
So that's one that would, if you wanted to play, you'd have to upgrade to the new generation.
and you
Is
got
it
to
enough of an incentive though?
and then you got to see there's very diminishing returns we're getting from even like say the 5090 compared to the 4080. You know, there's very small
Yeah.
returns you're getting from that. You're not seeing a big leap in graphical fidelity and all this stuff. I think that ship has kind of sailed. Like what we're seeing now with AC Shadows on even the Series X quality mode or whatever, you're not going to get much better than this on next generation when it comes to just graphics. They're going to have to implement more in terms of, you know, mechanics and all that stuff. Try to, I don't know, game design would hurt more of last gen stuff. And we're not seeing big leaps in game design. So these graphical leaps that we're getting, they're very small, very subtle. I don't really think that we're going to, I think we are going to be stuck in a cross-gen period for a long time. I think we're going to see at least 3-4 years of cross-generational games. So again, you're going to have people that aren't going to switch to the next-gen consoles because there's no need to.
Unless it's compelling enough, right? And the compelling would be you combine every library and you suddenly have a device that gives you everything.
There you go. There you go.
Right?
Yeah.
And now it's like, well, hey, that's kind of nice to have.
Because you know
So,
what's really pushing next gen is like the lighting. The lighting is really huge on these games.
Yeah.
And RTGI, you know, ray traced global illumination, everything. That is really what sets Shadows apart from most games. That the lighting is incredible. So I don't know. We'll just see more of that stuff next gen.
Yep.
And AI, of course, AI is going to be a big thing next gen. Expect to see a lot of like frame gen and fake frames and stuff in your console games. That's coming.
Yep.
I see that.
Can't wait for all the new acronyms.
Though, you can turn it off.
Gonna have so many acronyms we're gonna have to talk about and remember.
Oh, I know, bro.
Yeah,
I hate it. I can't get them like VSSR, VLID.
Yeah, FG.
Like what a DLS. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Jax82 with the 5 says, I've been going back and forth if I should subscribe to Ubisoft Plus or just buy it outright. Any suggestions? I'll say this to you. If you're not big into the last 4 Assassin's Creed games or any of them in the last, 5 5-6 years, I would say just go ahead and subscribe to Ubisoft Plus. What can it hurt? You know, you spend $20 or whatever it is for 1 month,
Like $19, but yeah.
and you get, you know, that's it. You know, you can just cancel just to try it.
There is a deal if you want to get it, $108 for a year. It's a deal right now.
Yeah.
I think till March 28th.
Yeah, and you get with that you get like the premium edition of the game with all the extra
Yeah.
content and all that
Yep.
all that stuff.
For all the games, by the way. So
Yep.
all the
Yeah.
Ubisoft games, you get the premium edition. So
Yeah, that is a selling point for their subservice for sure.
yeah.
And you get
And you
cross
get it on
progression
PC.
between and
Yep.
Xbox, and you
PC
get
and Xbox.
cross progression and
Yeah.
everything, and it just like with Assassin's Creed Shadows, that cross progression. Like I've played this on my Xbox, I've played it on the cloud on my tablet, and I've played it on PC, right? And it just picks up where I left off every single time. No
Yeah.
issues whatsoever.
Yeah, Colt had an issue with accessing it on his ROG Ally, like away from the home. It was like he didn't get all the progress saved. Like for some reason it wouldn't download, like upload to the cloud or whatever. When he got home,
Was he console streaming to his?
now, I don't
ROG
know what
Ally?
he does.
Yeah.
I really don't know, but yeah, he says it was like he missed, like he had to redo like several hours because it didn't.
I wonder if he just
line
didn't
up.
connect the ROG when he got home or something like that, and it didn't update the servers or
Yeah.
something.
It's either his ROG wasn't didn't get the update from the internet because was he on a plane?
He was.
Yeah, probably
probably
couldn't
didn't connect
update.
them.
Probably the save wouldn't update.
Mm.
The
Yeah.
Yeah,
cloud.
you just have to connect up.
Yeah. Anyways, with that, I want to let everybody know thank you for coming today. And of course, thank you to my guest, Mav. Mav, let everybody know where they can find you, buddy. I appreciate you being here today.
Yeah, it's fun, man. Thanks for having me, Hargeet. Always fun hanging out with you as well, bro.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you guys want to check out what we got going on, just tune into Fun Speculation on YouTube. You can find me at the same name on Twitter. And got 3 shows. Mondays, Fun Speculation podcast on at 9 p.m. Eastern time. Thursdays, we got Pong Soul and I for PM in the PM at 7 p.m. Eastern time. And then Friday nights, Xbox Ultimate podcast at 9 p.m. Eastern time. And thank you, Fonz.
No, thank you, man. I appreciate you, man. Again, we spent over an hour talking about a game. I love that. It's rare that you see podcasts talk about actual games and get into what they like, what they don't like. I love that aspect. When I listen to a podcast, I like to hear that anyway. Hargeet, let everybody know where they can find you, your book, your social media, everywhere you're at, because it's a long list. Yeah, go ahead. Let everybody know.
Yeah, so if you want to subscribe to my channel, HargeetChiny1 on YouTube, and if you want to buy my book, it's shop.chiny.us. I'll be on in an hour-ish with WebDave on WebDave's channel, and it'll be with Next Gen Nero and with Ray Ray. So check that out, and then I'll be on with Boom on Wednesday. Double Barrel Gaming, 7 p.m. US Eastern. Check that out. And then I think we're on for night shift on Friday, so 8 p.m. ish on Friday, 8 on Point for Gamers. Check that out, and we'll be back together hopefully Saturday next time.
We'll be back Saturday for sure. We'll be here Saturday next week, same time. 3 p.m. my time, 6 p.m. Hargeet's time. Oh, that's East Coast.
Yeah.
Anyways, we'll see you then. And thank you for being here. Thank you to everybody listening after the fact, on demand, and all that stuff. Thank you. I appreciate you, everybody listening, streaming platforms and all that. I've been having an issue where I've been having to wait for YouTube for like 18 hours before I could even download the video to upload the video.
Yeah.
It's been horrible lately, but I'm trying to see what I can do to mitigate that. Anyways, until next time, folks, game on.